A decade in the game, Waheed aesthetic. A decade in the game, Waheed aesthetic. So it all started in 2010. 2010 was my first year at university studying sports, exercise and science. During this time there was a module in there which covered the personal training side of it. So I decided to do it and pretty much smashed it with flying colours. At the time, personal training wasn't my priority. I did push it out slightly, never really got many clients. So my first year as a qualified personal trainer, I hardly had any clients, to be fair, one or two tops. Went on to 2011. 2011 I decided to work at a gym. Gym was at my university, in all fairness, Newman University College, and at the time I was under the manager, who is a very good friend of mine now, called Ricky Varney. Bear in mind, Ricky Varney now is like a British champion in the bodybuilding industry. During this time he taught me the ins and the outs of the gym, basically how it should be run, how to tidy up, the warm-ups, the cool-downs, basic fundamentals or basic methodologies of how to train. These things weren't covered in the personal training qualification in itself, bear in mind. So I've kind of picked up a few clients. I've probably got another 2-3 clients, but at this time, bear in mind, personal training wasn't my priority. So it came into 2012. 2012 was my final year at university, and the year I graduated. So the year I got a bachelor's in science, or 2-1 honours, in all fairness, and I decided to take my personal training a lot more seriously. So I left university with 2-1 honours and worked as a full-time personal trainer at a gym local to myself. So during this time, I never had a huge amount of clients, but I had enough clients to get me by. So whilst I was doing these clients, I decided I wanted to take it a lot more seriously, put a lot more into the personal training game, because I thought this is going to be my career now. So I had certain clients who specialised in accounts, graphics, artwork, even photographers. So I decided to give these clients a discounted rate. Some of them even trained for free, in all fairness, simply so I had enough material or enough knowledge in order to put into my business. Because bear in mind, personal training itself is a business. So I decided to take it a lot more seriously and run it as a business. So the whole of 2012 I really started to push it out, and then came up near the end of 2012 I came up with a company. Well, I bumped into a company called Sema Suprema. Sema Suprema obviously have done many great things now, to be fair. They work with Katie Price, etc. But we came up with a brand, and the brand was aesthetic. So my logo in itself, it was not just a logo which was put together, it was a logo which had a lot of thought behind it. So we had a triangle, as you can see from the picture, and then in the middle is the actual silhouette of myself, and then we've got aesthetic in the background with, if you can see a W, it's a subliminal W in the background, and we've got a diamond which symbolises eternity and well-being. So 2013 was a year where everything went a lot more seriously, to be fair. Everything really started to pick up, the clients really started to flood in, and the transformations actually started to speak for themselves. Bear in mind, I started to take everything what I learned in my previous years at university, which was 3 years at Newman University College and 2 years at Matthew Bolton College. So I had 5 years of higher education behind me, which I used a lot to my advantage, because what I learned in a little module over 6 weeks in a personal training course, I felt wasn't enough. So in my personal opinion, at that time, like I said, personal training wasn't such a saturated market. There was roughly around 5 to 6 personal trainers, and out of them 5 to 6, there was 2 who I really respect quite highly. So I thought I had the edge over them simply because of further education. So therefore, when people are saying education in itself is a waste of time, I personally believe that it is the difference between being great and a legend, in pretty much layman's term. But yeah, so I tried to take everything a lot more seriously. So everything I learned in university, where it was the business aspect of it, the sociological aspect, so the surroundings and the people around me, and even the psychological aspect I've had to actually motivate my clients, and then looking at it, the physiological aspect in terms of how certain clients are different to others simply because of their backgrounds, being South Asian, being Afro-Caribbean, or even being Caucasian. So when I was doing this, I decided to really take it a bit more seriously in terms of investing into my business. Bear in mind, personal training now was a business. I remember actually walking to the bank in 2013 and making a business account. It was a great, like, it was a different sort of day. It was, like I said, from having a normal account to making a business account, and then getting one of them checking books with aesthetic health and fitness club written on there. Was a proud moment in itself. So I decided to invest in my business. When I say invest in my business, I remember buying heart rate monitor watches back in 2013 for my clients. So my clients were actually wearing heart rate monitors in 2013. So I wanted to take it more of a scientific approach back then rather than just guessing with stuff. So I always thought ahead of the game or outside of the box. So never let somebody say to you, you're doing too much, because too much will never ever be enough. There's never be too much. So with that aspect, then I started to make Facebook banners. I started to promote the whole YouTube stuff. I actually made a YouTube video, which I think has got like about 13,000 views, which I've actually never ever pushed out. It's not a life-changing amount of views, but it was good enough for me because it was something which I decided to do then. And I wanted to get out there more so for the youngsters. So even in 2013, I was making videos more so for the youngsters to actually try to motivate them to get into the gym, because the gym in itself was a big aspect for myself, which made me feel better about myself, gave me a lot more confidence, and gave me that extra spring in my step. So by the end of 2013, I had a whole lot of clients, and the transformations always speak louder than themselves. So I had a whole lot of transformations which were a CV for other clients and to attract a lot more people in. So that was pretty much 2013. So 2014 in itself was just crazy, to be fair, because I'm getting recognised wherever I go. Recognised for pretty much the work which I've done, the work as a personal trainer. That's all it was, to be fair. So it was pretty, how can I say, overwhelming. Overwhelming from being a personal trainer and going places and people saying, oh, that's Waheed aesthetic, that's Waheed aesthetic. So I was getting recognised for my good work. Bear in mind, growing up, I always wanted to be a professional footballer. So it was half disheartening not becoming a professional footballer. But then, like I said, God always has his plans and he knows the best. And then just becoming a personal trainer and getting recognised everywhere was quite good. Half overwhelming. But at this stage, like I said, I had so much recognition. I was getting invited to radio shows as a special guest. And I think it was 2014 where I actually signed my first Wall of Fame. It was at Amber Radio, and I signed it next to, for the guys who are watching this, if you know, Gurdas man, So having my name next to his was like, wow, yeah, it was a great moment. And then, like I said, I still continue to do what I do. I used everything as a business, and everything which I learned over the previous years in my further education, I tried to put it into the game. So at this stage, I remember training with a guy called Zach King Khan. Zach King Khan's another professional bodybuilder, very well known, to be fair, IFBB pro. And the video was actually filmed, it was on YouTube, and it's got just under 1 million views, to be fair. And like I said, I was getting not just recognition from people in the local area or the local community, even the local city, it was pretty nationwide. And then, like I said, continued to write certain articles for certain newspapers. And so all in all, 2014 was a year where I'd say my foot was firmly planted, and it was to see what I was going to do from now. 2015, I feel this was the year where it really set me apart from everybody else in the industry in itself. 2015, which was 5 years ago, I actually started to train a lot of elite clients simply because my work by then had started to speak for itself. Bear in mind, over the last about 5 years, I must have had about 400 clients and 200 very good transformations. So starting to bring in a lot more elite clients. I remember working with a model called Louisa Burton. Louisa Burton was Miss Great Britain at the time, and she was going to compete at Miss World. So, to train somebody who's going to compete at Miss World and getting ready for the bikini round was like, wow. But then from then, simply from my further education, which I learned was sports-specific training, which, like I said, every action should have a purpose. So I weren't just making clients do simple basic movements. There was a lot of thought process behind it. And like I said, the most important thing, the 5 components of fitness, which I'm not really going to get into it, got me onto a lot of professional boxers like Anthony Manning, Sean Davis, Natty Howell, Navid Manzouri. Navid Manzouri actually flew in from Marbella to come and get some sessions done with me because he was signed by MTK at the time. So yeah, it really took off. It took off, and that year I was actually awarded the best personal trainer in the country by UK Fitness Awards. So my work paid off. It paid off. So from then, like I said, I was taking it all very seriously and as a business. And while I was training over the last 5 years, I never spent all my money in chocolates and sweets. I decided to put some of it away, and I invested in a personal training studio. The personal training studio in itself in 2015 wasn't a personal training studio with just a bit of weights and a treadmill. I put a lot of thought process behind it, simply because at this stage now I'd signed up with Asiana magazine. Asiana magazine at this time was the UK's largest selling magazine, and I was employed as a health and fitness guru. So my thought process behind this was keep it a secluded place for women to feel comfortable, or brides and grooms wanted to be get them ready together so they could train together. So I had a lot of thought process behind this, to be fair. And I wanted the personal training studio in itself to be very therapeutical. So as you know, certain lights to certain moods. So I had orange light to making sure it's a calm effect. The weights I got, they come from Egyptian mythology, which was Jordan Ignite. So certain metals produce certain energy levels. So it was to promote weight loss and toning. We had a non-shatter treadmill. So just, a lot of people don't like running. So the treadmill in itself, it wasn't causing no damage. And I remember actually my logo, which was created in 2013, getting that made into a signboard. It actually lit up the whole of Digbeth. So when that went up, it was such a proud moment for me, to be fair. So the signboard went up, and my investment into the personal training studio went. The elite clients started to come in, and I actually started to become, at that stage, like I says, an elite trainer in himself. So I was up there with everybody else, and I was learning a lot more of the business aspect of it, because like I says, with any sort of business you do, you receive a whole lot of money, and you need to know what you're doing with this money. So I had rent to pay now. I started to fill in my taxes, and then I started to invest in more merchandise. So because the brand was getting recognised, I invested into some caps and hoodies and even gilets, and they were selling out. So I was actually very surprised that people were actually looking to buy stuff with my logo on there. From then, I remember it was a funny one, to be fair. I had a dessert company get in touch with me, and they wanted to make a dessert named after myself. And I says, obviously that just goes totally against what I do, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to promote a healthy lifestyle, how we can do this. So basically it was a healthy dessert. So we made a healthy cookie dough, and we made a healthy shake, which had X amount of protein in it and minimalized carbs. So, I was getting endorsements by dessert shops in 2015. Talking about endorsements, it was this year where I got a whole lot of sponsorship deals from clothing companies, food companies. So it was Pro Gains. Pro Gains at that time were massive for the meal preps. So I had a good little deal with them. MMA Sports Nutrition. MMA Sports Nutrition themselves was like a supplement company, and I was actually the face for them. And I had a very, what can I say? It was a photo shoot which I did for MMA Sports Nutrition, which the pictures went pretty much viral. That helped me, and I did a lot of videos for them, and I was one of their frontline athletes back in 2015. At this stage, bear in mind, all I'm known as is a personal trainer. So I wasn't a footballer, I wasn't a boxer, I wasn't a cricketer. So all I am is a personal trainer, but I'm getting all these endorsement deals and everything, and they're pretty much the same as a footballer and boxer. So it was a lot to take in, but like I said, I had a very good team around me. It's very important to have a good team around you. So this is a point which I like people to take. So make sure your team is strong around you. So if you are trying to get ahead of yourself, they'll put you back into place and keep your feet grounded. So I always kept my feet grounded. I knew where I was coming from, what my background is, what my roots are, and where exactly I'm going. So when I was giving awards out, I was invited to give awards out at a music event, and there was like a Kizza, who was a very well-known DJ and music producer, and I was giving him an award. There was another singer called Sonny, I can't remember his name now because I'm not so familiar with the music, giving awards out to certain people like this. I was a guest speaker at Forever Living. So at this stage I was really trying to correct my vocabulary and not speak so much of my usual lingo, and I was trying to be a bit more professional, going into schools and give you these motivational talks of exactly what I've done over the last 5 years. Bear in mind, at this stage, for myself, I never realised how far I had come, simply because I just thought it's normal, ticking along. But like I said, I had a good team around me, who was keeping me grounded, letting me know that, you know, we can do everything right now and the proper way. So when I was invited to like Forever Living's like one of the biggest companies in the world, let alone UK, and to give a talk there in terms of motivation, it was massive. And then that was 2015. 2016, it's only been a year, bear in mind, since I've been into my personal training studio, and I'm fully booked now, and I've got clients coming in from all around the country, simply coming to even do consultations and, you know, booking, get some advice. So I'm really fully booked at this moment in time, and business is going really good. So I decided to actually expand. So I had a little room there, which I decided to knock into and build a sandpit into a gym. So a lot of people saying, why is a sandpit? It was a methodology which I tend to use with a lot of my elite clients, simply to make them do lots of drills in the sandpit and make them quicker on their feet. This year, in 2016, I actually got a call up from a few guys, and they wanted me to run my own qualification. A qualification which was for personal trainers. So at this stage, I was teaching personal trainers how to become personal trainers under my own school of thought, Aesthetic Academy. On this qualification, I must have had just under 100 people, just under 100 people, a qualification by myself, under my school of thought. I had a great moment, to be fair. So I was actually nominated as a Young Muslim of the Year. So as a personal trainer, like I said, bear in mind, I'm not a footballer, I'm not like a boxer. So, you know, you can get Amir Khans or your Moin Ali's, or, you know, so I'm not up there in my eyes. But then to be nominated as Young Muslim of the Year up against them names, it was like, wow. So I really was, like I says, humbled in itself. I never won the award, but becoming a finalist in itself was good. So I really wanted to give something back to the community, and there was a local football team which I actually played for, I captained, I won trophies with, and this team I really wanted to give something back to. So what I wanted to do, what I did do, was I decided to sponsor them. I paid for their football kits, I got professional coaches in to help with the coaching, and like I said, it was another great thing, like, you know, just going back to the local community, the local park, and seeing a lot of old faces. You know, bear in mind, like I said, with the personal training side of it and with the work I'm doing now, with the modelling and the endorsements, I'm all over the place. I'm here, there and everywhere, and like, just to meet a lot of old faces and stuff, it was great. So that was something which I really wanted to do, give something back to the local community. And at this stage, like I said, I'm getting booked in to do meet and greets. Like I said, as a personal trainer, I was like, wow. And then something massive happened. I get a phone call from a celebrity management group called Top Media. Top Media is a celebrity management group who sign up celebrities. So they had the likes of Tyson Fury on board, Will Mellor, Scott Adkins, and they wanted me on board as an official celebrity, let's just say. So I went through the paperwork. Like I said, I had a good team around me, took my lawyers with me. We looked at the work and we thought, yeah, wicked, why not? So we signed up with Top Media and became an official celebrity. Got me a lot of work, to be fair. Was invited to many other awards and stuff where we're just bumping shoulders with people you see on TV. So that in itself was like, wow. So that was that. That was really good. And then, like I says, I know my upbringing. My upbringing has been top drawer, to be fair, and I know my roots. And then I was invited to the Pakistan consulate, which obviously is a major thing in itself. To be invited there, so I remember trying to dress up as smart as possible, not in my tracksuit and stuff. So I wore a shirt and trousers and a nice brown coat. And meeting the Pakistan consulate, you know, shaking his hand and everything. And he wanted me on board in order to recommend him any other athletes who I know of, who they can actually support and push their career further. And like I said, that in itself was like overwhelming, but I took it all well, simply because at the time for myself I never realised how big a thing it was or what opportunity it was. But looking back at it now, I'm thinking, wow. 2017, like I've previously said, it's not always apples and pears, it's not always the glitz and the glam. This year in itself was many ups and downs. It started off absolutely great, to be fair. I decided to do something which has never ever been done before. I wanted to do over a long period of time. So as a personal trainer, like I said, I had a wide range of clients who were at a good level, but not at a level where they'd be able to compete at a very high level, but good enough. So I wanted to give these clients an experience of what a stage would feel like a bodybuilding stage. So I wanted to do my own bodybuilding federation, and with my little twist. So when I say my little twist, it was something which says more about me, my personality, etc. So I had live singers, I had people like Hunters. Dan Hunters is performing Michael Jackson. I had live stalls there, like cryotherapy there. I had people doing balloons. I had food stalls. And all in all, I think we had more than 500 people turn up. Bear in mind, I had a lot of big names. I had Alex Reed come down, Big Joe Egan. A lot of celebrities turned up simply because of Yoga Talk Media and me being a celebrity in himself. So over 500 people. Bear in mind, all this money was for charity. So all this money did raise for charity, because I'm a firm believer, always give, because the more you give, the more you will receive. So yeah, the federation itself went absolutely crazy. I had about 18 guys who got ready for the show. We showed them how to diet, how to train, how to pose, how to tan, how to carb up. Actually great. You'll see some of the visuals of it, and the evening in itself was mad. And this was something done which sets you apart from a lot of other things, because, you know, as a personal trainer, it's easy to tell someone what to lift and what to eat, but what is the goal after? So I wanted an ending to it. So there's trophies handed and medals and stuff. So that was great. Then there was UKBFF. UKBFF is a bodybuilding federation, recognised all around the world, to be fair. And they done a show in the Birmingham Town Hall, and I was made an ambassador. So my picture to be on a poster at UKBFF, same, it was like, wow. But that was the year I actually decided to compete. Myself, I've never really had the urge to compete, but I simply wanted to know what it feels like and what the process is going to be like, simply because I'm doing clients now who I'm getting ready for shows, and I wanted to practice what I preach. So I decided to compete. In all fairness, never went the best. It weren't the best ending, simply because I feel like I was in the wrong category. But I came back to that at a later stage. So that was that. And then came the downside of it. Like I says, as a businessman, like I says, it's not always ups and downs and the glitz and the glam, making certain errors and stuff. I decided to move on. So this was a true test of my character, whether I will crash now or will I come back stronger. But like I says, fortunately enough, I had a good team around me, and over the years I've learned of what to do in a situation like this and put my money in the right places. So we opened up another gym called Aesthetic Underground. It wasn't a personal training studio, but it was more so an open right gym. Great, to be fair. Like I says, now it's very successful. We've got a lot of members there. During this year also, I decided to go in partnership and opening something called the Aesthetic Village. Aesthetic Village was more so for my female clientele, and we decided to do what was it, the Botox, the nails, the facials, and we had a private personal training studio just for women. And then it was my main project, which I call the Aesthetic Training Centre. It was a private personal training studio made simply for elite clients and one-to-one personal training. Same, a lot of thought process went behind it. I had it matched out at the top so we could do the boxing side of it or the kickboxing side of it, and on the downside obviously we had enough room for the boxers, spaced out with the lighting, exactly how we wanted to do. And you'll see from some of the visuals, the place in itself was great. So from going all the way up, back down, and then we were shooting back up, and then to top it off with the icing on the cake, I actually won Sports Personality of the Year. Sports Personality of the Year, the Pakistan Music Media Awards. And like I says, being up against someone like Amir Khan and Moeen Ali, or household names, and to beat them to an award, it was like, wow. But this just shows in itself, you know what I mean? If you've had a setback, it's always a great setup for a great comeback. So I felt like, because I've had a little downside in the the beginning of the year, it set me up to make a really great comeback, and that in itself was a great stamp to finish the year off great. 2018 in itself, like I said, I was going in from momentum from my previous year, and I really wanted to really push it up further this year. And like I says, having that business acumen and not just putting all my eggs in one basket and just thinking personal training, I wanted more from it. So I invested heavily into my clothing side of it, which still is doing great, to be fair. So we had compression tops, we had vests, we had casual tops, which was getting run by somebody completely different. But then I wanted to do something more in the industry. So I worked with a lot of people, put a lot of thought into building my own pre-workout called Velocity. A lot of thought process went into this, you know what I mean? It was trial and tested over a long period of time, and it went really successful. Sold out within, like I said, within 30 days. But there's only one of me, so I couldn't really run around and keep doing it. So that in itself was a big learning curve for me. So to put somebody else in place to do my pre-workout, now that I know that the demand is there. And so that was done of it. And remember, I mentioned in the previous year that I competed simply because I wanted to know where I'm going with my clients. And at this stage, I'm getting clients ready in 2018. So I wanted to take my training a lot more seriously. So I cut down on the personal training, and I wanted to compete more seriously. So I entered the competition, which was a world championship in London. And I was competing as a muscle model and an inked muscle. And thank God I got first place. And that really set me apart. So I really wanted to, practice what you preach. So I don't really want to be saying X, Y, and Z to certain clients and getting them ready for a show, and I ain't got the credentials myself. So I got the credentials, I won the world championship, and that was that. But then it was wicked because, I'm getting news reports from not only England, it was all around the world. I remember getting phone calls from relatives in America saying, we've seen you on the news, on AOI News, there was Geo News, there was PTV News. So I'm getting lots of interviews and stuff, which was great in itself. And then we had TV reports, more TV reports. And I remember doing a BBC documentary on bodybuilding itself, on the aesthetic side of it, with a guy called Matt Hussein, who's actually wrote a book. You'll see the links of that also. So it went really good, to be fair, and I really wanted to push it out. And then from that year, like I said, it's really set the momentum into 2019 when I was invited to Pakistan Achievers Awards, which are the biggest awards outside of Pakistan for any South Asians. And I won excellence in health and fitness. So like I said, it was great because I got to share the moment with my friends and family who I've had all the way from the beginning of the decade to the end of the decade, and they've actually seen the journey from training clients in the alleyway and from having no gym to getting such an award. So like I says, I wanted to put money in the right places. At this stage, like I says, business was going well. I'd put money away, and we decided to get another gym. Another gym in Sutton Coldfield. It's a nice area in Birmingham, to be fair, and I wanted to have a gym which pretty much had everything under one roof. So I wanted to really put my life into it. So we've called it Aesthetic Health and Fitness Club on the Birmingham Road. Completely renovated it, done it completely exactly how I wanted it. My colour scheme, my weights, my sort of energy. So we have DJ nights, we have classes, we have functional area, we have a boxing area, and even like personalized gym equipment, So in itself, we've got nutritionists under one roof. We've got all the top personal trainers, who I believe, under one roof. And it's just a great community. I always feel like a gym has to be a great community, so that's what I really put into it. So over my 10 years of experience, or lessons I've been learned or been taught, I've put it into one gym, and I wanted to bring that energy and that vibe into under one roof, and that's what we've done. So we've got another gym now in Sutton Coldfield called Aesthetic Health and Fitness Club. So bear in mind, coming at the beginning of 2017, left with no gym, and then coming to the beginning of 2019, end of 2018, there's the Aesthetic Underground, Aesthetic Health and Fitness Club, and Aesthetic Training Centre. So that in itself, like I says, don't think one downfall could be the end of you. Keep pushing, because you don't know how far it's going to take you. So 2019, after winning a major award, the Pakistan Achievers Award, I felt like I can still compete. So I decided to do another show as a classical bodybuilder. So it was another show simply because I had other clients who were doing bodybuilding shows, and I really wanted to know how they feel. I'm a firm believer, you know what I mean, you've got to practice what you preach as a client, as a coach. You can't expect A-star results of a student where yourself are a D- student. So I wanted to get the A-star myself, and I decided to do a show which I got first place in, and set my tone up for that. So that was 2018, 2019. Bear in mind, the online clients at this moment in time are going great. The clients in the south, we've got a waiting list of up to 6 months, and we're really fully booked, and at the same time we've got a good team in order to run all gyms. So moving on to 2020, obviously, as you know, with 2020 it's been a stop-start year with the whole pandemic and everything what's going on, but we've utilised this time in itself to our advantage. The clients have decided to continue to support me. We've done online clients, so we've decided to do the whole the Skype calls and the video calls. So clients have still been up to date, and renovated the businesses. So we looked at other competitors, what they've got and what we haven't got, and we've ensured we've got that. So we are fully prepared for when we are open again. So that in itself, in a nutshell, is a decade in the industry. This video is not me being boastful about my accolades or something. This is just me sharing my journey from the ups and the downs, and trying to share my knowledge or passing on any sort of inspiration or motivation to the younger generation, which would be helpful to them. And that's that. If I was to tell myself 10 years ago that I'd be here, I possibly would have laughed at myself, same way everyone else would have. But like I says, thank you very much for everyone that supported me, and thank God that I am where I am. So I'd highly recommend to everyone that's up and coming, or anyone that wants some sort of advice, higher education is a must. Have a good team around you, and make sure your surroundings really good. For the future, over the next 10 years, my plans would be to franchise all around the world, preferably in the Middle East, because I've had some good support from there, and give something back to the community. So whether it's a local youth centre or some sort of classroom education for the younger generation in terms of how to run a business properly, or how to pay bills, etc. Because this is something which is not taught. You have to learn this. These are lessons in life. So I'd actually put something in place where we could learn this aspect. Because like I says, a lot of people would think you'd get a business and that's it. It's going to be great. Money's coming in, but it's not. You know, there's a lot of ins and outs to it. So I'd like to put something in place where we could teach the younger generation that, and have a great personal trainer in itself. So who knows, in another 10 years we'll have a bigger and better Waheed Aesthetic in this situation. So a decade with Waheed Aesthetic.
Really made.